I've got a confession to make.
I need to get this off my chest. As a business owner, we all make mistakes.
I've got to confess.
Hey guys, it's Charlie here, and you are live with us for an episode of Confessions of a Business Owner. I am joined by my fellow co-host, Kim Barrett. How you doing, Kim?
I am doing super well, Mr. Charlie, sir. How are you doing today?
I'm doing well. It's good to be recording some episodes more frequently with you again. I missed you in our break away from each other, so more frequent communication has been nice. How's things in Perth?
It is good. Perth is starting to get into the spring and summer weather, so it's actually been beautiful. So I had to tear myself away from home today to come to the office to record because it was just such a beautiful day.
Excellent, man. Excellent. Well, today we've got a really interesting topic about how to work out what you do next in business and in life. And this is something I don't think gets enough thought or consideration at all. What do you think on that statement, Kim?
I would 100% agree because, I don't think that anyone really puts the planning into that they should. I think sometimes they think they do, but most of the times people are have put far less effort into thinking about that than they really should.
Yeah, I agree. So we'll give the backstory on this one. So a good friend of ours, of both of ours, Liam Donnelly, awesome guy, fantastic guy. I was having a chat with him last week, and he made a statement that has turned into the topic of this episode. His belief, and this is an opinion, he may not be 100% true, but was that majority of business owners actually have no idea what they're doing when they get out of bed in the morning. And I tend to agree with him. Most people kind of work it out as they go. They're kind of choosing throughout the day, often with poor data, how to more strategically come up with what they should be focusing on. But really, they just end up very, very reactive to the day.
It's so true. And I would say the bigger thing is that, and we'll dive in, and we've both got some great examples on these, but the bigger thing is that most people let other people's priorities become their priority. And it's like, they wake up and what do? They check their Facebook messages, they check their email, they check other things, and they get bombarded with a bunch of, for lack of a better word, shit that prior to that wasn't even on their radar. And then suddenly that becomes the most important thing for them in the day.
I agree. Now, I hate to say it, but that was me. Well, I mean, social media has become a lot bigger now, but when I had the agency, I would get up, make a coffee, and then get into my inbox, and then my inbox would actually dictate my day. I only realized, after years of having no clue of what I was doing on a daily basis, that I was really at the mercy of my inbox. Whatever came in was where my energy and resources got directed. So more or less, we were really, I guess you'd say we were a firefighting company. We're just putting out fires all day.
Yeah, is that why you did that calendar? I was wondering why I saw those shirtless photos of you. Now it makes sense. But I would say that I am definitely the same. And now I'm sure I know probably the answer, but I've been thinking about it for a while because I definitely do that as well. Like I've gotten much better. I have my assistant trained up to do my email. However, I'm very much on the brink of, or on the verge of, deleting the email app from my phone. I'm a little bit scared to do it, and it's probably the last thing that I'm kind of like holding on to. But yeah, I've been considering it. I've been considering it to alleviate that, because even though I have the best intention, I'm like, I'm not going to check anything until I get to work. It's like I'll be at the gym and I'll be on like a cool down set or something on the bike, and I'm like, well, I'm not doing anything. I may as well just quickly check it and see what's going on.
No, there's the ruined workout. It's over.
Exactly. Then I just start throwing up. It's not because of the hard workout. It's because of all the stuff that comes up.
Well, please tell me you don't have notifications on. It's not like you're getting email alerts on your phone.
No. I have no notifications on anything apart from Stripe notifications if we receive a payment. That's the only thing I have on, because that's exciting. But everything else is off. But it's still there. You know what I mean? Because you can still see, my phone's on airplane mode now, but it's like you can still see the number of emails at the bottom. That's like how many are there. So I'm like, it doesn't update and I don't get notifications, but because it's there, I'm like, I'll just check it.
Well, I mean, we might do a Kim detox live on here, and we're getting deleted. So number one, man, like I know you're on Google email. Don't use the Apple app. I use the Google app because there is no notification number on there. So it's like we never know what's happened. And I also don't have notifications on in any way, shape, or form. Like I don't have them on my phone at all. But I have to share this. I have begun turning notifications on my computer for good news. So like when certain things happen, like you said, Stripe payments, or like, we make a sale at Outsourcing Angel or something like that. I love getting those notifications. I don't do anything with them. It's just a nice little, hey, your day's going all right.
And that's it. And I think it's like, and I'm probably more, I would say, more in control than most. It's like I'll check. However, I still have my focus on what I want to get done first before I let other people's priorities take over. However, that's still a little bad habit, even though I'm potentially somewhat good at doing that. It's like it's still something that I have.
So let's use a sliding scale then, because it's like, you've got the people who don't check them at all. Like, credit to them. If you're one of those people out there that doesn't check any email on your phone, doesn't have social media, and you're balancing that really well, good on you. And then we've got extreme addicts who like are nonstop in notification land. If that's a 0 being no notifications and a 10 being an addict, where do you sit on that scale?
I hate when people ask that question. I'll probably be a 6, to be honest.
Really?
Like, just because it's, especially when I'm expecting something. Like, for example, we set a new campaign up for a client and their notifications are going to our account, or we're sending a new campaign up ourselves and the notifications go to our account. I'll check just because I'm like, oh, I wonder if especially we just hired a new ads manager and he set up a campaign. I was like, I wonder if he's got any leads yet, and I'll refresh. And it's like, really? I shouldn't. And same with the new clients, like, oh, I wonder if they've got any leads yet, because it was like a little bit of like they kind of like challenged us, saying that they thought we couldn't get any leads because no one else had been able to. So it was a little bit of a little bit of a bravado showdown. So I was like, oh, I wonder what's like if we've done it. So yes, I would say I'm probably on the higher side on that end.
Okay, good to know. Good to know. We can get you ready for your digital detox.
Yes, but I mean, I still feel like I don't let it influence my day, so I can still focus on what it is that I need to achieve, because otherwise, like, it's just a breakdown. Like, even today's a public holiday in Perth, and I knew I would have, like, most of my clients don't have a public holiday because they're from all over the world and all over Australia. So I knew that I was going to still have notifications and whatnot, but I still got up and had achieved all the goals that I needed to achieve for myself personally to make the day a win, and then went about going through and seeing what else I needed to kind of address there.
I am absolutely fascinated by this topic. I really, really am. And like, this is the thing. In my opinion, this is an opinion piece, but like, you have legitimate business use for notifications and things like leads and sales, which to me is probably like your better notification if you're going to get one. But what amuses me these days is how many people that, let's say, don't have a business live in that land. And it's like, I'm like, oh, wow, it really, really is addictive, and for a lot of people. But where I'll tie into from this is going for, like, I think it is a massive, massive, massive dampener on happiness when you have those types of notifications and email addiction and notification addiction, because it's like you're almost hunting for drama. And if you are hunting for drama, you're going to find it because it becomes the reality from there. But I'll quickly talk about an experience I had when I looked at it. What became overwhelmingly true for me, and overwhelmingly something I thought about a lot, is I realized that, when people were sending me emails or getting me notifications, it's like their goals weren't my goals. So the things they were, trying to send me information actually supported, them getting closer to their goals, but not necessarily helping me get towards my goals. And when I was kind of looking back on the average week, I was like, well, hang on, I'm actually spending very little time taking actions towards the goals and things I want to achieve. Like, it's literally going to be like rolling a dice, by chance that, we get a certain amount of work or we go to a certain stage or something like that. And that really bothered me. Like, it really, really bothered me. So for me, what was the big wake up call is, like, we'd gotten to a stage in the company where I didn't have any more hours to work. I was at capacity. And not only that, we became very stagnant. Like, this became the level we played at. And I got really worried because I was like very disappointed against my ambitions. So I think, at the time I wanted like a $10 million company. And I think we'd made it just into 7 figures. And I was like, I'm like a tenth of the way here. And I can't connect how I'm going to go from here to there. Like, and then I'm looking at my, you know, how I'm spending my weeks, and I started tracking my time and my calendars, and I'm like, oh shit, we're not going to get to there. And it's really, really funny when you have that moment when you realize that what you're doing doesn't actually support your goals and or support taking you to where you want to go in life. And then you get really depressed. So when you realize your actions don't tie into, and I'll give you a really good example of like, I'm getting up and I'm running every day, and my goal is to complete a marathon, but I'm never actually running for more than 15 minutes. It's going to be a stretch. You got to change something.
Well, and if I can chime in, I think that one of the big reasons why I see it happening is that everyone wants, and we probably forget as business owners too, everyone wants instant gratification. Everyone wants, they want to have something addressed and they want it now. However, I think that we as business owners probably take that too much to heart when we see someone and go, damn, we're going to do something about it right now. But if someone hasn't picked up the phone and called me and be like, Kim, this is an emergency, or SMS me, like they know that's the 2 direct ways to get in touch with me. Everyone, like they have our office number. If they haven't done that, it's probably not urgent. So even though it's that whole like flight or fight mode, and it's your body goes, oh, well, there's a problem, we've got to solve it, especially as business owners or entrepreneurs. The categorization we'll talk about another day. But as people working in business, we go, okay, cool, we've got to address this problem and overcome it and solve it. However, they probably aren't asking for that. And if they're sending an email, that's not the most effective way to get something to happen. So they're probably not expecting that either. However, we go, oh, we've got to deal with it right now, as opposed to going, well, no, I have 3 things I want to, or 1 thing, or I want to move the business forward today in some way, shape, or form. I do that, tick the box, and then I address the rest. Like I remember, because I was this morning or the other day, and I'm like a stickler for this. I'm like, if I send someone a Facebook message and we've been having a conversation, we're going back and forth, and they don't get back to me in like a day, I'm like, screw this guy. How dare they not get back to me in one day, right? It was this morning. I was chatting to this guy, and we've been chatting for a bit, and we're going back and forward on some messages, and then I got radio silence, and I was like, no, he's not serious. Like I'm about to throw in the towel in this, you know? And then I'm like, hang on, it's probably not a priority for him right now to do this. So really, like I haven't like called him or SMS'd him or anything else. I've just sent him a message. I'll send him another follow-up message and see how he's going. And he ended up getting back to me immediately then. But at the time, it's like, well, if it's not their priority, like I can't really be frustrated just because it's a small priority on my list. If I really need it to be done, I can pick up a phone and call them or something like that. But again, it's still not as big a priority. So I can't be annoyed at them. I can't be pissed off when really, there's nothing, like there's no real reason to be.
Wasn't that interesting? Because even you're in condition for a 24-hour response.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm like, I want to back it. Generally speaking, is if I've been in the middle of a conversation and I don't get it back in 24 hours, I feel annoyed. But then I've got to kind of look at my own behavior and go, well, why really am I feeling annoyed? Like, I probably didn't give them enough reason to respond to me immediately, or they've probably got other more important things to get back to little old Kim sitting at his computer typing in messages. There's probably other stuff going on that could be more important. So just take a chill pill and just wait for them to come back to you.
So, I find that very, very fascinating in itself. And like, I think we've addressed really well, like how much of condition we are to instant gratification, notifications, and the reactiveness, general being reactive to the day. So I'll ask you the question then on the reverse of this, of like, on Liam's question, and that is, how do you prioritize and manage what you work on next? And I suppose be responsive to situations instead of reactive.
You can't. It's impossible. No.
Game over.
Just sorry, guys. Unlucky. If you're looking for an answer on this podcast, unlucky. No, I think there's a few things, but I think really, and we've done other podcasts on being effective and things like that. Also, I think it's really down to like, what do you want to have happen for a day for your business, whether or not you actually do it productively or not. And I've as told you before, I was listening to a very interesting book. I'm only part of the way through, so I won't reference it just yet. But it's like that whole, I can't remember the principle that it is, but it's like, well, anything that you give time to will expand to fill up that period of time. Right? Parkinson's law, that's the one, correct. Thank you, sir. I knew you would know it. Right? So the same, whether it's when it comes to money and expenditure, whether it comes to time, like it'll expand or contract to fit what's in there. So really for me, I set myself kind of like 90 minutes in the morning, and it's like, if all I did today was just get one thing done that was focused on moving our business forward, and normally it falls into one of three categories for me at the moment, because I'm still working on a few systems in some areas, which is sales, leverage, and delegation. It's like I have to do at least tick one of the boxes in those three areas. And if I do that for the day, that's kind of a win. Then whatever else happens from there is whatever else happens from there. But in that 90 minutes first thing in the morning, I either need to tee up some sales or arrange sales or give some training to my sales team, create something that's going to give me leverage, which is if I do training, I get 2 ticks, which is obviously great for me, little gold star, or delegation. It's like, cool, if there's something on my plate, most of the time, it's not stuff that only I can do. Sometimes there is like this podcast or other stuff, but if it's not something that only I can do, then handball that bad boy and get it out of the way.
That's interesting. I don't mind that. It's like you get, it's a very interesting, it's a different approach to me, but I actually quite like your approach. It's like, if those relate to, those are the inputs that tie to outputs, that can work really well.
Yeah. So that's generally my process. First thing is to do that, and then whatever else happens from there. And I'm sure it'll probably change and adjust as I finish off this book and make some changes and other adjustments as things go forward. But that's kind of it as of September at the moment.
Where did you get that from? So when did you incorporate this, and like what made you change from the reactive notification Kim to this version of Kim?
Well, because pretty much like since when I used to have a company, like I had very set, when I used to work in a company, I had very set specific outcomes. I knew every single day what I had to do, tick all those things off, get them done as quick as I could, and then I go home and I'm done. And every day I'd have my set tasks. So when I started my own business, I thought it was going to be the same. I was like, cool, task for today, this, tick the box. But then it was like, cool, I open my messenger, I'd open my email, and I'd pull in my task from the day before. And I'm like, fuck, I need like 30 people to do all this stuff. Like, is this even possible? And I will go through, and it's like pen and paper writing it down. And then it's like, well, now that I have a bigger opportunity for delegation, being that it's in other people's hands now, other people in the company are running those areas. I first off started when I was always looking, there's people that say, oh, what's your one big rock, or the 3 big things, or the 5 big things, or they all have all these productivity, efficiency. And after listening to our podcast, our last episode, everyone would know what that we kind of talk about there. But I just thought, well, generally for me, I like small numbers of things. It's like, if I can tick the boxes on that, I'm a box ticking type person. I like to be able to go, cool, that's done. Then I thought, well, it's going to be something that drives us forward. So I remember I heard of this portion of like using your most important time. And so for me, it's pretty much before my whole team's in. And literally for then, it's like I've already won the day, because I've ticked the box on one of those 3 areas before everyone's even come in. So when everyone else comes in and we do our team debriefs, and I see what areas of the business need some focus from me for the rest of the day, what I need to do to strategically drive us forward is done. And really, it could be 1 or 5 areas, but they're kind of the 3 things that I'm focusing on at the moment. So as my business grows forward in the next probably 3 months, the delegation part, I won't have to focus as much on that, because I've started to do that, put the systems and processes in for that. So then it's just focus on how I can build more leverage and how we can grow and improve our sales.
It's a great approach, Kim. I really, really like that. I might even steal some of it.
Oh, please do.
borrow some of it, leverage some of it.
So that's kind of the way that I approach it. But what about yourself, Mr. Charlie? So how do you go about this?
So this year I probably had the biggest change in how I run my team. And I run something I called Winning the Week, which is kind of like I've stolen all the bits I liked from other pieces and put them all together to create my own kind of system, as I often do. And I think there's a lot of good ideas out there on how you can, run your personal management or your team management. Like the one you just said then is like, I think that can work for some people. Ultimately, I kind of believe just like, some people are morning people and some people are night people. Is like, there's styles of working that suit people better than others. So for me, I tried the daily thing. like winning the day, and it just didn't work for me. It felt like a lot of work just to win the day. And there was a lot of pressure on that day. And if a day went sideways, then we wouldn't win the day. So what I came to the conclusion of is that for myself and like prioritizing what we're going to do next is that I needed to go about this in a bit of a different approach. So I'm a really big believer in winning the week, and that's why I call it that. And the reason being is that my whole team, we all work Monday to Friday, and we want to achieve something in that Monday to Friday. We want to win that week, and then we want to have our weekends off. So it's a nice transition. Like I tried monthly, and monthly didn't work for us because it was just too long and there's too many weekends in between. It was hard to keep people focused on what we wanted to knock off. We tried daily. Daily didn't work because we just never felt like we could put big enough things into a day. But weekly ended up being this sweet spot. So I'll describe how I decide what to do next. Now, obviously, we've got a company vision, a company goals, a yearly plan, and we do like quarterly tracking. So I've got all that in place already. But when it comes to the week to week, what I like to do is I start every Monday morning at 9 a.m. I'll sit down and I'll review last week and review our reports and data and have a really good idea of like, what happened last week, what got done, what didn't get done, what's working, what's not working. And, then I'll plan out the next week and think a lot about how that's bringing us closer towards our goals. And that's the filter I use. I'll then select what's going to go into this week based on that. And I'll often even use an opportunity evaluator or something to make sure I'm picking the right things. But then I'll actually put on my calendar when I'm going to do what to achieve that week. But I also do that for my team. So I'm assigning what they're going to be doing for the week as well. 10 a.m. comes around, and then at 10 a.m. we have the team meeting. So I've spent this whole hour like preparing and aligning things out for everyone. And then at 10 a.m. I basically like just unloaded on everyone. So I suppose that's my delegation piece, much to you. And like in doing that, we're set up for the entire week. And why I love that is I feel like there's much less requirements on team communication when it's done like this. There's much less requirements on management and things that come through from there. And then at the end of every week, as long as we knock down winning the week, we feel like we're a winning sports team. Like it creates these really cool things of camaraderie and good culture and everything that kind of comes through it. So that's what I've been working out from, what to do next or how I arrange what I do in my day is very much by a winning the week mentality.
Yeah, it's good. I mean, you probably also liken that. It's like when you look at any of the sporting teams, as you just said, like it doesn't really matter if you win the games if you can't win the premiership. Like if you just focus on that and then you get annoyed that you lost in round 15 and you lost a game and then you get to the finals and it was against the team that you lost and you let that get in your head, the likelihood of you winning that game in the finals then is dramatically low. Versus going, cool, we know what we want to do. Our goal is premiership. Like our goal is that we're going to win whatever, like the cup or whatever it is. And then from there, we go back and we focus on doing all the things that we need to win that, which includes winning the games. And obviously winning the week includes winning some of the days. Otherwise, it wouldn't be able to happen.
It really does. And it's quite interesting. But it's funny that the winning the week thing is what tied it all together for us. That was what was really, really fascinating. I mean, when, Liam posed this question about, most business owners have no idea, or this statement, most business owners have no idea of what they're doing when they get out of bed in the morning or what they're doing for the week. And I look at it and go, I think a big part of that is because they've got no clear goals. They've got nothing they're working towards. I think they have like vague goals or vague ideas in their heads about, Lambos and millions of dollars and sitting on a beach. But it's not really defined. And I think that's stops them from having enough clarity. I kind of think there's like three questions you can never ask too much of yourself or never think. Like it's impossible to spend too much time thinking about these three. You ready?
Yeah.
Your goals. Like, what are my goals? The second one is my target audience and niche. Like, who do I serve? And then the third one is my offer. What am I offering? And if you just continually think about those three things, like I reckon you'll be better off.
Yeah, and I mean, I was listening to as part of this book as well. There's an interview with a guy called Scott Alford who has a company called Infinus or something like that, Infinus. And so he's doing like quite well on track to be doing being an 8-figure company, I think, at the moment. And he said the biggest thing that he did was to free up all of his time to really be able to focus on that. He's like, I want to know my audience's problems the best and the most deeply compared to anyone else in the marketplace. And if I do that, I'm always going to be ahead. So he pretty much got everything off his plate. He's got a CEO that runs his company and everything else. And all he does is focus on understanding that problem, understanding his niche and audience and how his offers can help them. And when you think about it like that, it's like, wow, it's hard. It is hard to compete against that, because most business owners, if you're up in the morning and you're jumping in, you're putting out fires shirtless like Charlie, right? And you're going around, running around, doing all this sort of stuff, you don't have the time to think about these things. And I know myself, I've notoriously in the past been bad about making time to do that. So I could do that, or I better do all this work. And now I'm getting much better at actually making the time for planning, actually taking the time to think about these things, because literally you cannot you cannot have scalable success. I'll say scalable because you can have some success. You can kind of fall over stuff if you don't make time. However, I think you always get stuck at a certain level and you'll go, it's like the car that doesn't really have the right acceleration. You go up a little bit and it rolls back down. You go up a little bit and it rolls back down. And you can't really get over the hill unless you can make that time.
Well, that's really the story of the first year of myself in business, if you will. But it's so, yeah. I often think back, I look back and I'm like, I don't know if you've ever had this thought, Kim. I was like, God damn, how did I even make it? Like, how did I get through those first few years? Like, with what I know now and just the ignorance I carried in those first few years in business, it's like, exactly, you just fell over success. We got lucky a few times.
Yeah, exactly.
Then you get educated.
Yeah, and then you're like, oh, there's all the things I did wrong. But I think if you don't, as I said, like, you just got to be able to make that time. But if you keep doing those things, it's like a self-deprecating cycle. It's like you don't make the time to do it, or so you don't understand it and you can't do it well enough. And because you don't make the time to do it, then you don't have any more time to do it again. And it's just like, oh, cool. It's 25 years down the track and nothing's changed.
Sums it up very well.
Yeah.
Fascinating thoughts there. But I mean, two unique approaches to like how to decide what to do next. And I love that you've got your categories, like, you know, specific categories. Me, I'm more a methodical data thinker. Like, I like to sit there and review it all and then try and make decisions based on what the data is showing us to bring us closer to our goals. Both approaches, I think, can work really well. But I tell you what, I'm thrilled we both have an idea of what we're doing when we get out of bed in the morning. Make a huge difference in there. So big thank you to Liam.
Just one thing before you sorry to cut you off there, before you wrap up, and say I do make my decisions based on data. However, I know strategically at the moment they're the two biggest areas I've been lacking in. So that's why I know I have to fall into the main categories of sales and leverage, because they're the two that I can see just by our numbers that are going to be able to drive us forward faster.
But it's still a really good filter. This is the thing, is like, you know, a lot of my decisions might fall into those same categories. I'd have to check it for review. But it's like, you know, I'll put it out there as like sales and marketing is always in that category. We're always looking at our sales and marketing data and about what we should be more of or less of, or is our marketing working or not working. Leverage, I think, can be measured in many ways, but it's like, you know, we're pretty actively tracking, you know, traffic, assets, lists, followers, cash in the bank, all those types of things. So it's like, you know, asset base or creating more leverage off that is really, really relevant to it also. So for you, what I found really interesting is you've picked those categories, but if you're consciously making decisions to scale that every day, I think it's pretty hard to fall off.
Well, we'll see. I'll keep track of it.
We'll see.
You know.
Well, I am going to wrap this one up for now, Kim. Thank you so much for being on this. Big shout out for Liam for referencing the idea. I think it's really important that business owners put thought into how they're actually spending their day and not at the mercy of notifications and the inbound firefighting. Thank you so much for coming on to this episode, Kim. That is it for Confessions of a Business Owner. We'll be with another episode very, very soon, guys.
Adios.